Well, it looks like we're starting our all other breed show this afternoon. We're starting off with the Black Hereford class. This is a heifer. She was born March 6th of 2021. This will be the lot one in tomorrow's sale. She's consigned by AOB Farms. Our judge this afternoon is Adam Curran. This heifer was sired by PCR 3X Chief 507C. I think this will work for you.
It's okay. I can talk him as he goes. If he wants to stay, that's fine too. As we dive in over here on the our AOB show, it's my pleasure to be here today, and we don't have huge numbers, but we'll kind of work through them and sort through them as we go. We have one black Hereford today. This heifer, March heifer, he told me, and actually lots and lots of good parts and pieces here. This one's good and extended from the top of her shoulders to the top of her head. She's good flat spine, she's good legged. She sets those down in a really nice package, and when she gets out and goes, she pulls it all together and pulls all those pieces together. This one's probably a scotch on the green side today, but I think all those pieces will come together, and as she matures and grows and does a lot of good things like this, I think this one will go on to be a really nice cow prospect.
Now switch to the miniature Herefords. This is class 2. We have one animal in this class. This is TF Miss Dolly 21, consigned by Thomas Farms Custom Cattle. They're from State Center, Iowa. This heifer was born June 3rd of 2021. She was sired by KW Thunderstruck. This will be the lot 5 animal in the AOB sale tomorrow.
So as we dive into our mini Herefords here, we actually start the mini heifer show with a pretty nice little creature here. This one's square in her hip, good at the ground. She gets around and goes nice. All the pieces are there. She's going to grow up and do good things. I think this one's got a lot of potential. She's real good from the center of her spine to the center of her belly, and comes up out of the top of her neck into the top of her head very nicely. Nice heifer to start the mini Herefords.
Okay, now entering the ring for Class 3 miniature Hereford bulls. We have one animal in this class. This is TF Carolina's little teddy bear, also consigned by Thomas Farms Custom Cattle. This is a 2-year-old bull, will be 2 years old tomorrow. This will be the lot 4 in the AOB sale tomorrow.
So as we've worked through these, we've had 3 single entry classes at this point, I guess, and you know, every judge gets on the mic and says, "Oh, this one could stand some competition," and so on and so forth. And you know, I'm not going to say that, I guess, but without saying that, I'm going to say that this one's pretty darn good in his own right. This guy's got good big feet. When he gets out and goes, his feet go right where they're supposed to. He's good and square in this at his pin set. He carries that down into a nice hip. He's good in the center portion of his body, and he's got a lot of width there. He comes up out of the top of his shoulders nice and carries that into a pretty darn good looking package. For a mini Hereford bull that's 2 years old, this one I think's got a lot of good parts. So that's a nice critter.
Okay, class 4, this is our final class of miniature Herefords. Here we have a miniature Hereford steer, TF Sadie's Mickey 21. He was born February 20th of 21, just about a year old. This animal is also consigned by Thomas Farms Custom Cattle. This steer prospect will sell as lot number 6 in the AOB sale tomorrow.
So it took her just a second to get this one circled back around there where you could get a good look at him. And I haven't had a lot of involvement in the mini Hereford breed, but I've had just enough to know how tough it is to put good feet and legs under these things. And actually, all 3 of these mini Herefords from that aspect have been pretty darn good there. But this one is good and square in his hip, and he sets that foot down just almost right. And he's good hipped, and he's good legged, and he's good shouldered, and all those pieces kind of come together on this one. He squares up nice, and when she gets him stopped there and kind of gets his head up, maybe he's not the longest, she gets him stopped there, he gives you a really nice look, and I think that's a really nice mini Hereford steer that'll go on and do some good things for somebody.
Next, we have 2 classes of Solaire heifers. This first animal is class 5, the summer yearling Solaire heifer. She was born June 2nd, 2021. STP Jessie F2J. She's consigned by T-Bone Cattle Company of Osceola, Iowa. This heifer will be lot 14 in the sale tomorrow.
So I've had the privilege of judging some Solaire cattle here over the last couple years, and as a breed, I think this breed is doing a lot of good things, and this one probably combines a lot of the things that they're trying to do with that breed. Her running gear is very good. Her feet and legs, the structure to those, the way she lays those into her hip are very, very nice. She puts a long, extended, good-looking nick on the front of that, ties it into a really nice shoulder. She's good and smooth down the center of her back, and from the point of her shoulder to the point of her hip, she's just about as level and good as you could build one there. She's good and long spined as well. I think this one's green and has a lot of good parts going forward.
Okay, and next we have Class 6, the Spring Yearling Solaire Heifer. It's born February 21st, 2021. This is WPS BP Josie J121, consigned by Wolf Polled Solaires of Applington, Iowa. She will be the lot 15 in tomorrow's AOB sale.
We get our second heifer, or second class of Solaire heifers out here, and I guess this one comes with just a ton of power. This one is big backed and big hipped. She sets that down on a relatively good sized foot. Maybe not just the prettiest one right up there out of her head and neck, but I think if you're looking for one that has some stoutness and some power and will do a lot of good things to change a herd, that one probably has the parts and pieces to do that.
We'll bring both Solaire heifers back into the ring and pick the champion and reserve Solaire heifers.
We get this pair of heifers back out here, guys, and this is the first division that we've actually had a couple of, and so it's kind of fun to put them both back in the ring and sort through them and study them just a little bit and kind of compare the bits and pieces and parts of both of them. I'm going to make the statement that, frankly, I'm just here for the fun of it. I guess the true evaluators will be tomorrow when these things go to the sale ring, and I think both of these will probably offer some things that, as far as, to take home and put in your herd and change the game a little bit, or to change your herd, they probably both offer some pieces. I'm going to kind of tell you what I see in them, and I kind of talk through them, I guess. But to start with the little heifer out of the first class, I think her feet and legs are really nice. I think she ties really nice out of the top of that shoulder into a long extended neck. I think she pulls all that into a pretty elegant, nice built package, and from the front of her shoulder to the back of her hip, all those pieces kind of come together. when you get into the second class and look at this heifer that comes out of the second class, that's definitely our power heifer. That heifer gives us more power and shape when you get in behind her, and when you start to study that, that thing's more powered up. With that, she probably gets just a scotch round right there and doesn't want to set that foot down just quite as soft for me. But if you want to take that one home and put her on, you know, a big, soft, big middled bull, I think that one's going to do a program a lot of good. I think she's going to add pounds and do good things. For me today, as I stand out here and I sort through them and I look them over, I'm going to use the young heifer to be our champion, and the heifer behind her will be our reserve.
Okay, so the champion Solaire heifer will be the lot 14 belonging to T-Bone Cattle Company, reserve Wolf Polled Solaires. Next, we have two classes of Solaire bulls. Class 7 has 2 entries. The first one will be our lot 10, WPS BP Jet J139, consigned by Wolf Polled Solaire. This was born on March 6th of 2021. Now in the ring is lot 11, Izzy Jabal 125J, consigned by Isabel J. Peterson and Edwards Farms Solaires from Wayland, Iowa. This bull was born on February 13th of 2021. This would be the Lot 11 bull in tomorrow's sale.
So in this class, the Solera bulls here, guys, I haven't placed them yet. I'm going to talk through what I see in both of them real quick. And as we go through this class, if you want to talk different types and kinds, I think we've pretty well hit the nail on the head here. These two things are pretty different in the way they're built. And so from that standpoint, you've just got to kind of have a conversation with yourself as to, what your preferences are. I'm going to start with the first bull in the class. So this bull, as I talk through them here, guys, this thing's big and tall and extended and gets around the ring really well. Probably gets just a scotch round for me and probably gives up some middle body and some dimension to the bull right behind him. I think this thing's got good running gears, and I think he can get out and go, and I think he'd do a lot of good things in that respect. He ties his shoulders into the rest of his body nice. But probably gets just a little round build everywhere in comparison to the one right behind him. As we look at this one that stands behind him, as I'm evaluating these things, this one in the center of his body is just massive. He's good and big and probably sets down on a little bigger foot, honestly. I think with that, and probably a little squarer in his hip, but with that, he just gets a little shorter everywhere. And so you've got to decide and make some decisions with yourself. I think both of them get around good enough. I could probably change the front one of this shoulder and maybe just a scotch, but I think if you put him on the right set of cows, he's going to do a lot of good things as well. So since we had kind of some smaller classes, I thought it was worth talking through both of those. For me, today, I'm going to use this bull to win the class and that bull to go second in the class. So that'll be first and second out of this class. And we've got one more Solera bull to come, I believe.
So the Lot 11, Izzy Jebel 125J, class winner. Lot 10, WPS BP Jet J139 of Wolfpold Solares is second in class. Our next class is Class 8, Senior Yearling Solera Bull. This will be a fall bull, September 13th of 2020. This bull is consigned by Waveland Farms of Pleasantville, Iowa.
So our final single entry class on the Solaire side of things here, guys, and the gentleman brings us a nice, big, mature-looking bull. This thing he's grown into himself, and he sets down big, good feet. He does not want to act perfect out here, and I'd say when he'd relax, he'd probably kind of change the way he looks in his spine and some things like that. But this is just a good, big, mature-looking bull that'll go home, I'm sure, breed some cows for somebody, and nice bull prospect.
Okay, let's bring back in our class winner from Class 7, and we'll pick the champion and reserve Solaire bulls.
As we get our two class winners back out here, I think it's kind of interesting to evaluate these things in different stages of their maturity. And with that, you've got to kind of sort through the parts and the pieces and what you see in that maturity and what you see they're going to grow into. And there's sure less guesswork in the second bull. We kind of know what that one's going to go home, and we know what he's going to look like. We know what he's done on his feet and his legs, and we know what his shoulders and his structure kind of look like. We know what his center body looks like, and that one's growing up, and he's ready to go home and do some work. Our little bull that came out of the first class, I think there's a little more guesswork in that one today, and with that, and what I'm kind of indicating by that is this one appears that he could be just a scotch moderate. I don't think that takes away from quality. I've always kind of said that good cattle are good cattle, and they come in all shapes and sizes. So this one's good, big backed. He gets around and goes good enough for me. Like I mentioned, there's maybe a part or two of that I question just a little bit. But I think outside of that, he's good in the center of his body. He's good in his hip, and he's good and square there in his hip. He ties those shoulders in good enough. So as I get these two back out here and kind of start to study them and really kind of pick through those parts and pieces and throw maturity out and some of that, the bull out of our first class is going to be our champion. We're going to bring the second out of that class in. I'm going to take a second look, and we'll make some decisions. We get the second place bull out of that first class back out here, and we get him kind of parked in front of this of our mature bull. And I think we've actually got two bulls that probably are more similar in type and kind than maybe that bull that we used there just a second ago. But as I kind of talked through these things in class, I said you've got to put your priorities somewhere, and I thought that class actually was relatively close as you really kind of came down and studied them. I think you made small decisions on what your preferences were, and like I said, I'm not doing anything but talking through these things, and we're going to let somebody tomorrow kind of sort them out. But as I get them back in here and I study these things, and again, as you think about maturity and what's going to happen going forward, I guess I'm going to use the second place bull out of that first class. I think he'll be my reserve, but I do think for everybody standing ringside, I think those three bulls as a whole are pretty darn good set of bulls.
Okay, so for Champion Solaire Bull, we have the lot 11, Izzy Jebel 125J by Isabel J. Peterson, Edwards Farm Solaires as champion. And lot 10, WPS Jet, or BP Jet J139 of Wolf Polled Solaires as reserve. Now we'll move into the Shorthorns. This is Class 9, Spring Yearling Shorthorn Bull. This will be our lot 18 in tomorrow's sale. Romig's Dan Near Perfect, a February 15th of 2021 bull, consigned by Romig Show Cattle.
We're going to jump into Shorthorns here, guys, and you know, when you jump from the Solaire side of things into the Shorthorn side of things, you sure get a different look, and they're different types and kinds of cattle. I think the young man brings us a white bull that's pretty nice. This thing's elevated, and he's good-headed, and his feet and legs on those out of his front knee, he's just about perfect there in his front knee. We just kind of had the conversation. I'd like to see him relax maybe and do something a little different there in the middle of his spine, but I think part of that kind of stems from maybe some prior activities, we'll call it. So this thing's good in his hip, and he's good kind of everywhere as he puts it all together. When you get him parked right there, he's good looking, and he's fun to look at, and as you study him, you just kind of start to like him more and more. So I think this is a really nice February bull calf to start with.
Our final Shorthorn entry is in the Senior Yearling Shorthorn Bull class, lot 19, AF VF, final destination 084 ET. This October 24th, 2020 bull is consigned by Vaughn Farms.
We get our fall bull back out here, and just two shorthorn bulls. When this gentleman gets this one parked, there's probably not a better looking animal in the barn. This thing is parked, and he is good looking, and he's up-headed, and he's elevated, and that one's just nice, kind of wild colored, and all that kind of comes together, and that thing's just really, really picturesque. With that, he brings some really good things. He's good and flat in his shoulders. He ties from the top of his shoulder to the top of his hip really nice. He's got some center body, and he pulls that into a really nice, elegant package. Is he a stoutest built one? Maybe not. But honestly, when you talk the shorthorn breed, that's not what they're known for, and so I think he's got adequate muscle everywhere. I think this thing will go home and do a lot of good on a lot of different cows, and so it'll be fun to get these two back out here and kind of study them side by side, but that's a really nice fall shorthorn bull in this class.
So we'll bring back on our Class 9 Spring Yearling Shorthorn Bull and pick the champion and reserve champion Shorthorn Bulls.
Just two of these shorthorn bulls, and as we get them out here together, I think you can see a lot of similar pieces and a lot of things you like in both of them. And I'm sure not here to beat either one of them up. You know, they kind of asked me to sort through them and pick the ones I like, and I know tomorrow the sale will roll around and everybody will have differing opinions. I guess this is a pretty darn good pair of bulls, though, guys. And as we get them out here, they're both elevated and they're both nice and good looking out of their neck and shoulder, and they tie that together well. They're good on their feet and legs. I don't have any complaints or qualms with either one of them on their feet and legs. Could our fall bull go just a little stouter? Could he set down just a little softer right there? He probably could. Could our younger bull, could he lay into his spine just a little bit better, which in turn makes him kind of get up on his toes a little bit? He probably could. So you can nitpick on both of them just a little bit there, but frankly, that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to pick the one that I like. I think both these bulls have good parts and pieces. I think they both are going to go home and do a lot of good things for producers. In my personal opinion today, I'm going to use the older, mature bull to win. I'll use the white bull to be reserve.
Okay, so the champion Shorthorn Bull will be AFVF Final Destination 084ET, consigned by Vaughn Farms. Reserve, Romig's Dan Near Perfection, signed by Romig Show Cattle. I'd like to thank our judge, Adam Kern, for doing the judging, and thank you for the show this afternoon. We have one more lot coming in. This one is our donation heifer. It's being donated by White Oak Solaires. The animal is LMB Jane 113J. It's a 217-21 Solaire heifer. The $10 raffle tickets are being sold on this. You do not need to be present to win. The money will go to the Iowa Junior Solaire Association, and you have the option of either taking the heifer or $1,000 cash. So be sure to buy your tickets.